What up? This is your girl Megan. Welcome back to my channel if you're already a subscriber. And if this is your first time joining me on today, go ahead, hit that subscribe button because you know you want to. So happy Friday, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed another work week. And I hope you guys have a happy holidays with family and friends. Okay. So with that being said, I wanted to do a general birth chart reading for rapper NBA Youngboy. Now, this came about because I was on the internet and I came across a video of Orlando Brown and the former child star who's like fucking. I don't want to call that man crazy because I really do think he has mental health issues, but anywho, he had been put out of his friend's house earlier this year, and people were clowning him on the internet because the video went viral. The friend recorded kicking him out, and amidst everybody making fun of him, poking fun, making jokes of this viral moment, NBA Youngboy hopped on his social media and basically said like it's fucked up that everybody laughing at this. Like if you laughing at this, you lame, this and that and the third. And then he went on to offer financial assistance to Orlando, which I found to be particularly admirable given the fact that number one, NBA Youngboy, I think he's like what, 20 maybe? Drop down in the comment section below. Let me know. I might be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, I think he's like 20. And for him to be so young and so just very mature about the situation, it just took me aback. And then it also contradicted a lot of what he's been in the press for. So people really know him for having like 50,000 baby mamas, right? At the age of 19 and 20, for beating up his former girlfriend, for having herpes, for having a very volatile, erratic kind of personality and always in a fight or in a dispute. He has this very kind of nefarious, infamous, chaotic kind of energy attached to his name. And although he's very talented, like he's hella talented, I don't listen to his music, like go out of my way to listen to it, but I have heard some of his songs. And I mean, you can't take that away from him. This man, he's talented, very talented. But like I said, this whole situation kind of just sparked a little light bulb, so to speak, in my brain and just kind of made me wonder, what his birth chart looked like. Because I mean, there's good and bad in everyone. But I was just curious to see what the case was with him and what kind of energies are working as it pertains to his birth chart. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So NBA Youngboy was born on October the 20th, 1999 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Now, I usually go to astrocharts.com for my charts, but the tea is I pulled up two separate charts on NBA Youngboy off of this website, and both charts show a different moon sign. So one chart has his moon sign listed as Pisces and another one under Aquarius. But based off of just the entirety of his chart and his personality profile, let's just go along with the Pisces moon because I feel like it's a little bit more accurate. So his sun is in the 26th degree of Libra, and that 26 breaks down to the number 8. And the number 8 deals with cruelty. It deals with violence. It deals with punishment. It deals with somebody who is very temperamental. But this can also be associated with Capricorn because the number 8 has a lot of Saturn like qualities. So it could produce somebody who's very disciplined, very kind of rigid type A personalities who are very structured and pretty much kind of embody a lot of that Saturn energy. And you can't deny NBA Youngboy his credit for that because he seems to be a very hardworking kind of individual. I don't really listen to his music on a personal level, but just from casual observation, he seems to be making leaps and bounds in his career. So you got to give him his tens for that.
His Mercury is in the 20th degree of Scorpio, which I found to be particularly interesting because Scorpio is the sign of criminal activity. It's it's the natural ruler of the 8th house. So it naturally encompasses everything associated with death, rebirth, taboo, hidden activities, just forbidden kind of concepts. And the fact that a lot of dudes who are very because I believe he sold drugs. I mean, that's all he raps about, honestly, selling drugs. And so a lot of guys who tend to be in like that street life have one of their personal planets in the sign of Scorpio, I've noticed. And with NBA Youngboy's Mercury in opposition to his Saturn in the sign of Taurus, this could actually point towards him being shown the game, by an older person, an older male specifically. And that's kind of typically how it goes. I mean, and Saturn isn't limited to just men, but, I guess if you're going by the traditional interpretation, this could be an older person showing him the ropes of that street life. This could also represent somebody who's very limited in their communication. And I can kind of tell that with NBA. We got to call him something because that's such a long name to say. I'm not finna be saying NBA Youngboy the whole video. We're just gonna call him Youngboy. So I can kind of tell that with Youngboy because, even when he's doing interviews and he's talking, he's not really a guy of many words in the sense that I don't get super poetic type of dude from him. I would not be surprised if he had an IEP growing up, some type of speech impediment or a learning disability. This placement makes for somebody who just has an issue when it comes to expressing themselves and communicating to other people. And especially with his Mercury being in Scorpio, because Scorpio is about everything that's hidden beneath the surface. So, these people can be very kind of reserved when it comes to the way that they communicate with people. And, when you have Saturn touching that, Saturn brings about delays. It brings about restrictions, hardships, or even fear. So these people can have a fear of communicating, a fear of opening up to people, or not really knowing how to appropriately articulate what they want to say. And he just strikes me as the type of person who could possibly have those problems also. And then this could also bring about depression, okay? And I think he tweeted out I don't know when this was, but earlier, maybe last year, and he was talking about how he was depressed. And this was shortly after the news came out with him having herpes and this and that and the third. So this aspect definitely highlights somebody who is naturally predisposed towards very intense feelings of depression, and more than likely this is going to be a lifelong thing. I know in that particular instance, of course, it was herpes. Granted, technically a lot of the population has one form of herpes or another, but that's a different video for a different day, okay? This is not a medical channel. But point is, I can understand how that situation could bring about a lot of feelings of depression, sadness. However, my point is, depression, deep-seated depression, is something that Youngboy has either always dealt with or something that he will continually deal with. And there will be other experiences that he goes through in life that are going to ignite this and kick these feelings off for him. So, I'm pretty sure he's not into astrology, but if I was in a position next to him, I would strongly advise him to seek help. Okay. Yeah, and his Saturn is making a square to his Uranus. So this just reinforces that there are going to be sudden events in his life that are going to, prompt or maybe make this depression resurface. So yeah, he needs help with that. Also, he has a lot of very interesting aspects involving his Venus and his asteroid Juno. So let me get into those because that's what we came here for. We want the juice. So his Venus is in the sign of Virgo, and it is in square with his Juno. And your asteroid Juno deals with your relationships. And in a man's chart, this could be the type of woman that you attract, or it could be what you bring to the table in your relationship also. And so with his Venus square, and I always call this the bottom bitch aspect. Anytime somebody has their Venus squaring their Juno, this intrinsically tells me that there's this association with love and pain in like a person's mind. So they kind of feel like if it's a guy, if a girl really loves me, she gonna stay down for me no matter what. And that becomes very scary because that what could be anything. No matter what, could be abuse, which we've known NBA Youngboy to be guilty of. It could be infidelity. It could be herpes. Shit. I mean, granted, we don't know who gave the disease to who, but you get my point here. So this could produce a guy who attracts women who kind of they could just drag along for the ride, very toxic relationships in nature. I mean, that could even go both ways. Very, very toxic relationships, okay? And his Juno is actually conjoined to both his Black Moon Lilith and his his Pluto. So this right here is the jackpot because it, especially in the sign of Sagittarius, it addresses a guy who pretty much feels like he holds himself to a different standard, right? That's that Sagittarian energy. I can do what the fuck I want, bitch. You fucking can't. But especially in Sagittarius, Black Moon Lilith deals with the person who can make a very sucky relationship partner because they crave freedom. Okay, and especially in men, these can be Offset. Actually has his Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius, or is it Juno? But he has one of these placements, and basically it deals with a guy who can't really even despite his best intentions and other things in his chart, he's going to constantly wrestle with being faithful, being committed, or even, like I said, holding himself to a different standard than he would hold the girls that he's with to.
And with Sagittarius being ruled by the planet Jupiter, Jupiter expands everything that it touches. So it creates a situation to where there's this heightened, emboldened need for freedom, even this heightened or emboldened sense of confidence when dealing with women. It could even manifest in an overabundance of confidence, which can result in men feeling like they can do what the fuck they want with women. You know what I'm saying? They can become kind of careless.
I mean, his Venus is squaring his Juno, it's squaring his Pluto. This is a hot mess. So he's naturally going to attract very dysfunctional relationships, and where he doesn't really have that much respect for the woman that he's with, and then with his Venus being in Virgo, it's more than likely going to be a control thing. It's a I can do what I want thing, but you can't do that thing, right? It's going to be this obsessive, compulsive, almost neurotic kind of tendency to make sure that he has the upper hand in the relationship. And that's something that I can see that with him. And with his moon squaring his Pluto also, this could deal with issues. He could have been victimized by his mother, actually. And it would make a lot of sense given that I think it was in somebody's interview. Maybe he was talking to academics or something. He had said something to the effect like nobody was there for him. Like, basically, it doesn't seem like he has that good of a relationship with his mom. I wouldn't even be surprised if his mom abused him in some way. It could have been physical abuse. But he has a lot of karmic issues with women also, I see. And his moon is also in opposition to his Venus. So once again, reinforcing that theme of victimization because his moon is in Pisces. So this could be victimization. This could also symbolize his fame too, because moon Venus aspects tend to bring about a lot of popularity, and because your moon represents your reputation, this could also be like a very fickle kind of popularity, to where there are scandals, things kind of come to light about you. Is a very kind of up and down kind of public perception as it pertains to just how you're viewed by other people.
And his Venus is in trine to his Saturn, and This just reinforces this theme of an inability to really connect with women. And this could have started as a child. And like I said, I really do strongly believe that he has some type of background with his mom. And she really does come off as the abusive type. You know what I'm saying? She gets online, she's cussing them out, she's cussing other people out. She's very you can tell the apple didn't really fall that far from the tree in his situation. So, and as a result, there seems to be this issue that he has with women, an issue that he has with self worth. This aspect can bring somebody who tends to hold back in love or kind of have a very limited scope on how they view love, maybe lacking confidence. Somebody who, as a result, maybe they feel insecure within themselves, so they have a hard time really openly expressing themselves, especially to women. Somebody who could have felt unloved. Usually this aspect brings about somebody who felt very just unloved, unnurtured by an authority figure earlier on in life. That Saturn, like I said, typically could be a man, a male of some sort, but doesn't necessarily have to be. And another thing that I found to be quite interesting was the fact that his Pluto is conjoined to his asteroid Juno, and his Pluto is in the eighth degree. And I said that number 8 deals with punishment. It deals with discipline, and it could be very cruel and sadistic in nature. And then his asteroid Juno is in the 12th degree of Sagittarius. And that 12, it deals with victimization. It deals with sacrifice. So this could be him physically abusing his girlfriends. And we all know that, I mean, I think everybody saw the video of him like beating up his ex-girlfriend in a hotel room. I mean, even to this day, that video is so hard to watch. And I posted it purposefully because I feel like too many people are selective in their outrage. And while he is young, and I do acknowledge the fact that he is obviously going to go through a lot of shit and make a lot of mistakes, but domestic abuse is not a mistake. It's no more of a mistake than molestation, right? So if we're not going to give people a pass for being sexual predators and charge that to the game as them making a mistake and being young, abuse is no different. Physical abuse, no different. He needs help. He definitely needs help. And his chart is fucked up. This is who he is as a person. And it's scary that not enough people are really taking this seriously. So yeah, with the fact that his Venus is so fucked up, the Pluto and his Juno, they're all making these fucked up configurations and aspects in his chart. He definitely meets the criteria of a domestic abuser, a woman abuser, a woman beater, however you want to note that. And as the community, we need to stop coddling these black boys and black men. We're not helping anybody. You're not helping them, and you're damn sure not helping or protecting the women, the young girls that they're out here taking this shit out on. And his moon is making a square to his Chiron, which further reinforces this theme in his chart of him having issues or an issue with his mom. Because this could create somebody who has a wounded mother, a damaged relationship with their mother, a mother who possibly suffered elements of abuse herself, somebody who is emotionally wounded, emotionally damaged, somebody who has this kind of distorted perception of their own emotions, somebody who has very deep rooted issues surrounding women, once again, which can be traced back to the mother. And this just all points towards Youngboy feeling abandoned himself. This is a generational curse. A lot of times afflicted moons can point towards there being this kind of lineage of trauma, especially as it pertains to the women in your family. So, I mean, it is really sad because hurt people really do hurt people. But with his Saturn making a quincunx to his Juno,
it's likely that he's probably not going to really come to understand the gravity of his actions until later on in life, or really be able to maintain and establish a semi-healthy relationship with women until he gets a little bit older, or maybe a lot older. But he's young as fuck. I think he's like 18 or 19. So he has time, but I really hope he kind of gets the help that he needs in the meantime. And even without those elements of abuse present, he just is not going to be the type of person to want to be like settled down in the traditional sense, especially with his Venus in quincunx to his Uranus. These people typically like to be involved in more non-traditional type arrangements. It aligns with a lot of this Sagittarius energy in his chart, that freedom seeking, freedom loving, needing variety, taking a very detached approach to relationships. You might be here, there, and everywhere. And I mean, it makes sense, you know. But getting back to what I was saying in the beginning of the video, where he does also show certain qualities. I mean, and that's just life. Nobody is completely bad or good. We all have our light qualities and our shadow qualities. So on the lighter side, he does come off as being rather compassionate towards certain individuals, people, you know, like his peers, right? And the fact that he was willing to offer to give Orlando Brown that money, that said a lot while everybody was laughing at him. So, and this could be attributed to the fact that his sun is in square to his Neptune. And I mean, because it essentially brings about somebody who can be a very sensitive, compassionate kind of person, okay? And then with him being a Libra, he's just naturally going to seek to establish balance and order. And a lot of Libras move off of their own kind of internal sense of justice and what's right and what they deem to be fair. And they are very, you know, they stand strong in that, which makes them pretty good activists for the downtrodden and for the underdog. So you can definitely see that with Youngboy. And now on the more negative side, these people can be rather insecure. They can be, they can have a tendency to abuse drugs and alcohol, and kind of assume the victim role, a victim mentality, the woe is me mentality in life. But this could also point towards NBA Youngboy being successful in the music industry. And then it also points towards somebody who has a father who wasn't in the picture, okay? Or a father who even suffered from addiction issues themselves. So yeah, he definitely has a lot going on. It is definitely evident that Youngboy is just a wounded person. So I hope he really does get help with that. The good news is that he's young and he does have a lot of life ahead of him. So I really, 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 really hope the people around him kind of encourage him and push him towards the right direction in life, and that he can hopefully rectify some of these issues within himself. So that concludes my general birth chart reading for NBA Youngboy. Go ahead, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this reading, and if you have any other suggestions for your fave celebs to, you know, be reviewed next. And with that being said, make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until next time, I holla.